What the hell? Oh yeah, it's Nightmare on Elm Street review. Well guys, as you can probably tell by this week's get-up, I am going to be reviewing the Nightmare on Elm Street original and remake. For the season of Halloween I thought I'd do something special. I thought for each week that passes up until Halloween I'd review an original film and the remake of it, seeing as this is the horror industry and recently there's been a lot of originals being remade. This, in my opinion, is one of the worst remakes. I'm really not a fan of the remake. To show how much of a fan I am of the originals, here's a 7-disc box set. It's a really beautiful box set, if I'm honest. It has all the original films, 1 to 7. The only one that it doesn't have is Freddy vs. Jason, which I don't really consider an original anyway. I would consider it more of a crossover film. But anyway, good series, gets really stupid towards the end, but the final film, 7th film, Wes Craven's New Nightmare, saves a whole bunch in my opinion. Now, this week, I'm going to talk about these two. It's the 1984 original, pretty sweet film. The 2010 remake, pretty crap film. Now, this film stars Robert Englund as Freddy Krueger. Well, this stars Watchmen star Jackie O. Haley. Now, I don't think he's particularly miscast. It just feels like the only type of character that he can play is a childish pedophile, and it's kind of sickening, to be honest. They change the storyline, sort of. In this, he's a child killer. He kills children. This, he's a child molester. And I just think it's kind of in bad taste. It doesn't really draw away from the film. It just, I don't get the need for a change. This film also stars John Saxon and Heather Langenkampf. Whilst this, I cannot remember any of the actors from it. It just feels like a teen drama with a psycho killer put in there. Some of the scenes in this are terrible. Such as, in the original, there's a scene where Freddy is behind Nancy's wall. Nancy's the girl that he's basically killing, or trying to kill. And, he peers through the wall. How they did it was they shone a light on the background, and there was like white fabric, and he just basically pressed up against it, and the light made like a reflection on his face when he did it. It looked really cool, but in this they decided to do it in CGI, which I really don't get the need for, seeing as it could have been done a lot better with practical effects. And it's really stupid. It's like the whole wallpaper moves from behind her bed, and he sort of comes down in like a gliding fashion and like just stays there. Then the mum knocks the door and he vanishes, and it just looks so ridiculous to watch. I'm really not a fan of the makeup in this film. It's terrible. It seems like they did like a base coat of makeup, like make his skin look sort of burnt. He looks more like an actual burn victim, but his face looks like melted cheese. It's really badly done. He's got like one burn, and whereas in this, his face is completely scarred. He is unrecognizable from a human. He has all these like burns, and the flesh is red and sore, and it looks really cool to look at. But here it's just, it's really badly done. There's emotionless characters in this film. It's like, oh God, why are my friends dying? And it's just totally unbelievable. Ugh. I'm sorry that I'm just ragging on this film, but I think it's particularly bad. For some reason, they kept the main character the same. Her name is still Nancy, But it seems like they tried to update the other characters. Like, instead of Tina, it's Chris. I don't know if Chris is a popular girl's name. Instead of Glenn, it's Quentin. And it's just, if they were going to remake this and change a lot of the stuff, why not change it all? Why are you keeping some things the same and then changing other things? It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I know I've already complained about the child molester, child killer dilemma thing, but I just don't understand why you change something as simple as some characters' names and then keep the rest of the characters' names the same. I don't think the supporting cast is as strong in this as it was in the original. Heather Langenkamp and John Saxon did extremely well in the original. The chemistry between the two as father and daughter was just immense to watch. You believe them as father and daughter, whereas in this there is no father figure. There's a mother, but you don't hardly see her. Let me talk about the endings. Spoiler, but this has been out for God knows how many years now, so if you haven't seen it, what the hell are you doing? Go and watch it. Basically, at the end of this film, it's not decided whether or not Freddy dies or not. He disappears, but you don't know if he's dead or not. Then at the end, Nancy goes to school with her friends. The top of the car comes up, and it's this coloured jumper, so it's obviously Freddy. Then her mum's waving at the door, and an arm punches through the window glass, and like grabs her mum and pulls her through and kills her. And that was a really creepy ending. You could tell that they were setting it up for a sequel, but it wasn't cheesy. It felt like it was necessary, because obviously Freddy was such a cool character in this film. You didn't want him dead. And in this, it's completely contrived and unnecessary. They burn a building down where Freddy originally got burned anyway, and they say that he's dead. They found no body, but they definitely say that he's dead. Then, for some reason, Nancy goes back home with her mother, and Freddy is in the glass behind Nancy's mother, smashes through, like stabs her in the eye, and then pulls her through and the glass is fixed. It just doesn't make any sense. If he's dead, and they've already stated that he's dead, why is he back already? You want at least, I don't know, 10 minutes of closure in the film before they say, oh, he didn't actually die, and then I don't really need an explanation. He's Freddy, with all the stupid sequels. There's no limit to the amount of times that this character can come back, but it just felt like the whole death scene was wasted. And another big point about this film is it's not once mentioned that they're on Elm Street. They talk about a preschool that all these kids went to that Freddy's now hunting down and killing, but they don't talk about it as if it's on Elm Street. Elm Street's not even part of the film. The one time that Elm Street is mentioned is when Nancy is admitted to hospital for a large scratch on her arm, and on the address bar it just says Elm Street, and that's it. This film is all about Elm Street. The kids are on there all the time. That's where they're running away from Freddy. That's where Freddy found them originally, and that's where Freddy wants to kill them. Elm Street does not matter in this film. It's pointless, and the title just doesn't make sense. They may as well just call it Freddy's Melted Cheese Face. I'm done with that film. There is one good scene in the film, and that is where they are in like a pharmacy, and she's trying to move away from Freddy, and as she keeps moving, the camera shots change from the boiler room back to the shop, from the boiler room to the shop, and it's cinematographed really well, and it just looks cool. There is a slight thing that I prefer in this film, the one thing that I prefer, and that is that they give Freddy a bit more of a backstory. In the original, this glove is found in Nancy's boiler room, and she asks her mum where she got it from, and her mother tells her the story about Freddy, whereas in this you see what the parents actually did to him. They hunted him down and they burnt him alive. it's kind of cool to see that, because in a lot of the backstory books, in like the comic books and stuff, that's explained. They tell you how Freddy got to where he was and how he died, and that's one thing I prefer in this film. But overall, I would not recommend this. I'd recommend it to anyone that hasn't seen the original. You might want to try this one out. But if you have seen the original, there is no point really. You've already seen the original. It's 10 times better. And yeah, there's nothing for you here, to be honest. Now, the original is one of my favourite films, my favourite horror films. I think it's because of Robert Englund's portrayal of Freddy Krueger. He is just a maniac. When he's in the alleyway with Tina, when he's chasing her down to kill her, he runs around with his arms like flaying, and like he's screaming at her and running after her. He's a psycho. He's just so much fun to watch on screen. Where his arms elongate in the alleyway and they're like scratching along the fences and she's screaming. It's so cool to watch that. The effects in this are really good for its day. There's a bit where Johnny Depp is being pulled into the bed, and there's a big hole in the bed afterwards, and all this blood just starts spurting out afterwards. And for years I wondered how they did that, and apparently what they did was they put the bed on the ceiling and just let the blood flow from the hole in the bed, and it's just so cool to watch that. The bit in the bathtub, I'm pretty sure everyone knows what bit I'm talking about, where Heather Langenkamp's laying with her legs upright in the bath, and Freddy's glove just comes up in between her legs, and the mum knocks the door and the hand just pulls down. And then she drifts off to sleep again, and he pulls her under, and there's just a pool of light, and it's just done really well. It's such a good film to watch. It definitely get you in the Halloween season. And I hope you've enjoyed this review. And join me next week for when I will take a retrospective look at Friday the 13th original and remake. Thank you for watching, and goodbye!